Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church. It's good to be with you today. Here we are at the start of another week, and by golly, all kinds of things can happen today. And I want to share with you a passage this morning from 1 Samuel. Probably not necessarily something you read today, but as I was looking at this passage, I ran across these two questions that sort of lead into this verse and others. It says this: how many voices right now are trying to tell you who you are? Who do you allow to be in charge of your life? Our destinies are aligned with those we allow to lead us. Now, having said that part, let me look here at 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 7. Samuel is out trying to find who to anoint as king of Israel. Verse 7 says, "But the Lord said to Samuel, don't judge by his appearance or height, for I have rejected him. The Lord doesn't see things the way you see them. People judge by outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." You see, Samuel has been tasked by God to anoint the next king. So the question that I started out with, who do you allow to lead your life? Who do you allow to influence your decisions? That could be lots of people. Could be a mentor, could be a friend, could be a parent, could be a spouse, could be somebody you look up to. For some people, it's even characters on the TV. Yeah, I think all kinds of things about people who are actors, but they forget that they're acting. And we don't know a thing about who they really are. And the truth of the matter is, same thing with politicians. Whatever they got to say, they're saying to the cameras. We don't know who they are. We don't really know where they stand. And if you'll notice, often they stand one place, and then when it's more convenient, they stand in the opposite place. So the question comes now: how, who, where, in what manner do you make your decisions? What is the basis upon which you decide this or that? So Samuel's out, sent by God to find the king. And he's looking at this guy, Eliab. We see how you might pronounce it here. Eliab, Eliab, maybe. Eliab, something like that. I don't claim to be an expert on all the Old Testament names. You can call it what you want. But the Lord speaks to Samuel. He's looking at this guy. Now, evidently, this guy looks like a good choice. Must be pretty strong and sizable. Evidently, kind of handsome, too. He looks like the kind of guy you would want to be the leader of Israel. And maybe, it doesn't say here, maybe Samuel's about to pick him, about to anoint him. But before all of that actually happens, God says to Samuel, don't judge by the appearance or the height. Because, how does he say it here? For I have rejected him, that guy, because the Lord doesn't see things the way you see them. We have to be careful here. If we call ourselves Christians, if we want to live a life that reflects God, then we have to look at things not just through our eyes and our intellect and our ability to judge them. God gave us a good brain, and he wants us to use it. So many times Christians want to check their brain at the front door when they come in, just be told this is how it is. I don't think that's the case at all. God wants you and you alone to think about it. So use that brain of yours. But remember, God is not looking at someone or something the same way you might be. God, it says, looks at the heart, not the exterior. Now, how do we see with the heart? Well, we have to open our spiritual eyes and ask ourselves, what is God doing here? What would be the godly thing to do, or the way to respond, or the words to say? That old WWJD, what would Jesus do? I had a bracelet a number of years ago. It's still a very, very appropriate idea and an appropriate thought. What would Jesus do in this circumstance? What would Jesus decide in this situation? How would Jesus respond right now? Now, that might be in contradiction to everything you think you ought to do. So, you have to take time and ponder it. You see, it's really simple. All you got to do is do what God wants. But it's really complicated because sometimes it's so hard to tell. But yet, as we go through life, God wants us to make godly decisions. He wants us to have godly reactions. He wants us to make godly judgments. I'm not much into social media. Some of you might be. I read it more. I don't say much on it. But I've noticed how some people come to strange conclusions, it seems to me, and how many times their reactions seem awfully angry. Whenever I get one of those, I can't delete the post, but I can hide it. And if I get too many of them from somebody, I just unfriend them. I don't need to look at that stuff. It's not helpful. But but yet some of these folks I know would claim to be Christians. Now I'm not going to say they're not. I'm not going to judge that. But what I'm going to say is that their anger is not Christian. They're not responding as God would do. They're looking at something else. And maybe they don't know better. One of my favorite verses in the Bible is Jesus hanging on the cross when he says, Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing. So oftentimes we don't know what we're doing and we mess it up. But the love and the grace and forgiveness of God picks us up, carries it over, and gives us another chance. So this verse today, when you get to some place and you have to make a decision, remember what it says here. Do not judge by his appearance or height. The Lord doesn't see that way. People judge by outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. Look for the heart of God in whatever it is. And when you find that, you know exactly what God wants you to do. Well, thanks for listening. Hope you have a wonderful week. I really do. If you have a need or your prayer concern, let us know. We'll do whatever we can as fast as we can to help meet your need. Thanks so much for listening. God bless you. I'll talk to you again.